Shalawam. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, or Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect, the Akim, out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity with the hope of receiving mercy from Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Yahawah is the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahawashi is the true name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus or Jehovah. And you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Latinos are the Israelites, the true Israelites, and that's according to the Holy Scriptures. This is the brother Shamar from the GMS Jamaica camp, back again. The title of this lesson is Feminism, and did feminism work for our people? Or I think I'll more title it on the line, did our sisters were tricked into thinking feminism would work for them, something along those lines. I'll see what the spirit have me name it afterwards. But yeah, it's about feminism and its effect on Israelites. And before I get into that, I have a definition here of who, well, not a definition, but who created feminism. We can get a definition afterwards. Well, it's right there in the idea, but without further ado, I'll read this. Who created feminism? Right, so it says Charles Fourier, a utopian socialist and French philosopher, right? French philosopher, that's a so-called Edomite, is credited with having coined the word feminism in 1837. 1837, no, in 1837, of course, Israelites were still in slavery at that time, right? Weren't matter of fact, we're still in slavery to this day. We know this, but we're still in the chattel slavery. We're still working the fields, receiving lashes, stuff like that. So we receive lashes differently these days, but yeah, you know what I mean. The word feminism and feminist first appeared in France and the Netherlands in 1872, Great Britain in the 1890s, and United States in 1910. Right, and the concept of feminism, or what is the idea of feminism? So it was defined as the concern with gender equality and promotion of equal rights for men and women, the expression of these concerns through theory or action, and the valuing of individuals for their contributions to society rather than their biological or sexual characteristics or roles. Right. So in itself, when you read that, that doesn't sound sinister at all. Doesn't sound sinister. It sounds like a good thing on the surface, but let's get into it and see the effect it has had on our people. So there's a video I have queued up here. Let me just...
You're watching African Diaspora News Channel. Today we're going to be talking about how feminism harmed Black women. The term feminist and feminism came from a French philosopher who at a young age noticed the differences between the ethics in her mother's and father's relationship. So that allowed her to question, why are things this way? She later published a book called The Second Sex, where she introduced the term feminism and suggested that men and women are equal, but the difference lies between genders. Publishing this book, she had a goal. She wanted people to understand that women were restricted by men and characterized into different roles because men believed that they were superior. That's just a little bit of history on feminists and where the word feminism came from. So now that we have that background, we can see how this revolution turned into something that eventually did harm Black women in the long run. Don't misunderstand me. I am all for women empowerment, but I believe in fairness over equality. I don't believe that equal is something that we need to be fighting for. As long as everything is fair, why does everything need to be equal? There's different stages of feminism. The first stage of feminism, they wanted the right to own property and they wanted the right to vote, which is absolutely needed. When you live in America, you have the right to own property and you should have the right to vote. But let me remind you, also at this time, women were still enslaved in America. So when they were starting this feminist movement, they didn't have Black women in mind. Black women were still slaves. The idea of having a stable career was never seen or heard of. Women would have to choose between a family or home life.
And that point that she just made about women being in slavery should show you that, as she said, feminism was not not put in place for us. It wasn't we, our people, the Israelites, were not in mind um when this thing came into being. And let me just get a quick precept. Don't want this lesson to go too far without a precept coming out, because that's why we're primarily here, to preach the Bible. And she was speaking about equality. So let me see here. Right, there's an order. There's an order to things. The Lord didn't set up equality for his people. He set up an order, and with order there's rank, and this is the order. 1 Corinthians 11 verse 3. But I'd have you know that the head of every man is Christ, right? And the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God, and that's the order right there. So if you can interpret this, God would be number one. God, as will rename Yahawah. Number two would be Yahawashi, because it's the head of Christ is God. So Yahawashi is number two, man number three, woman number four. And of course, under that would be children. So feminism was not, our people were not in mind for this feminism concept. And let's let the video continue for a little bit more, about a minute more.
And that's what feminists really wanted to change. They wanted something to be different, to where they could stay at home or they could work, and they could do both and they didn't have to choose. But the feminist movement today has turned into such a different display of what it has even started out as. The feminist movement today is women who try to allow you to believe that it's okay to sell your body like property or advertise your body as property. And it's concerning to me how we started out as we want rights to own property, and now we want the right to be able to advertise our bodies like property. This is nothing that a black woman needs to be a part of. All of these combined were never a way for a black woman to be empowered in this system. How is convincing a black woman that raising a family on her own, having a successful career, and being happy without a man is the better option? America has turned this feminist movement into also now because of this feminist movement, black women have a reputation. Now we are seen as strong, independent black women. And that's not how we should be seen. Because now brothers look at us and they don't want to date us. They think that it's okay to date a woman of another race because a strong, independent black woman is not going to give him what he needs.
All right, and that's the point right there. That is how a lot of so-called black men end up seeing their woman as stubborn, and they don't want to date them. And so what does that result in? The destruction of the Israelite, the so-called black family, and of course, all Israelites are affected by that as well, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. All right, and that is a punishment from Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. And I can read that to you right now. Jeremiah 31 verse 22. How long will thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? Backsliding daughter referring to the whole nation of Israel, right? Because Israel is referred to as a woman. So that's northern kingdom and southern kingdom. The woman of the Most High is Israel, right? For the Lord Yahawah hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So that wasn't a woman compassing a man as the result of feminism. That's not something that should be glorified. That's actually a punishment. That's actually something that should make you feel ashamed, because that's the reason why it was put in place. And who did the Most High use to put this in place? Right? He used the serpent, and in Genesis 3, not really going to read it, but you can see it right in front of you from Genesis 3 1 to 6. It shows you how the serpent beguiled Eve into eating that apple being the philosophy that he pushed onto Eve. So rather than pushing the word or the gospel of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, the good news, onto the other nations, the serpent beguiled Eve to accept his philosophy. And this is exactly what's going on in this case with feminism. The French philosopher beguiled Eve when Eve became a part of it after after its inception while she was in slavery. Later on, Eve joined up, I guess, in the 70s or stuff like that. Afterwards, during the civil rights movement, and this philosophy was taken on by Eve, and it has not worked out, to say the least, right? And we're not ignorant of Satan's devices at all. This is just another tool that Esau will use to basically continue his stronghold over us, right? By destroying our family, that weaken the nation, and then we're therefore less of a threat to him and his power structure. So this is 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And the men of the Lord, all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, are not ignorant, because from our apostles who rule well down on, we see right through Esau's methods to keep us down. Right, a lot of the times Esau's tongue fall upon themselves and reveal these things. He basically inform on himself, as a term would say here in Jamaica. And a lot of times he informed himself through alternate media like RT News and stuff like that. But we men of the Lord are here watching to see what Esau is up to next, so we can inform our people, so that basically our people can receive a warning, so they can turn to Yahawah Bahasham Yahshai to receive salvation, because we are under we're in a war zone right now. This is not our rest, right? So that's another precept. This is Isaiah 29 verse 11. Surely your things turning, let me say that again. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. And that's referring to Esau, Edom, turning things upside down. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Right? So it's Esau, Edom who turned things upside down. Right? And doing that shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. Potter's clay is a very it's a cheap piece of thing that is not esteemed at all. Right? So him turning things upside down, bringing in the feminist movement, having women being stubborn, resistant to them husband, and basically that play out in destruction of the family unit. So therefore, children are not being raised in a stable environment with both father and mother. Therefore, we're having an infestation of homosexuals in our society, in our nation, unfortunately, and we're having also criminals, criminal activity, because there's no stable structure put in place, no standard was put in place when they were growing up. And also whores. A lot of the women are turning into whores, because their role models after that would be people like, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, and because those are the kind of women that are glorified in this feminist culture. Right, let me get another precept. All right. Isaiah 5 verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Yeah, and the thing that is good in this situation is the order that Yahawah Bahasham Yahshai put in place, where we said the head of every woman is the man. So that order, when you break it down, Yahawah is number 1, Yahawashi is number 2 in the order, number 3 is man, number 4 is woman, and that is perfect. That is a good order. But this society, feminist society, would have that, or would want to tell you that it's better to have so-called equality, and that is really not how it plays out, because this is to carnally explain it. It's good to have an order. Example, suppose you're going on a road trip, you're driving to a destination, right? And you have a driver. Like, if everything was equal, then the passenger and the driver would both be driving the car at the same time. But you can't have that. If two people are driving at the same time, that car is going to crash. Now, if the same thing in the family unit. The father, the man, was meant to be the driver. Where is he driving the family to? He's driving the family to the destination of success, to a successful, productive family. Where all the goals are achieved. They're successful and they're prosperous. But once you have that woman and that man, there's a fight for power, a power struggle, then that just going to lead in destruction. That car, which is the family unit, going to turn over, it's going to crash and it's going to burn. That's how carnally I would explain it. So this is just another one of Satan's devices. I hope this lesson was edifying. Hopefully, a point came out that basically sisters were beguiled by Satan, by Esau, to accept this feminist movement, and really it has brought no prosperity to them over the years. So that was basically the video. Hopefully it was edifying to the body. I want to say all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Quadash, give him the spirit to this lesson. Of course, double honors to the elders who do rule well, and salutations to the hopeful elect Akim. We're almost out of here, so Shalawam.